Hey friends, Chad Hedrick here, Olympic gold medalist and owner of Gold to Sold Real Estate Group here in Houston. Thanks for joining us here on Rafters, Sports and Movies.
That's right. Game on. We are live. This is Scott with Rafters, Sports and Movies. Welcome to a Sunday edition. In the U.S., it's bright and early, but across the pond, it is not bright and early. It is the afternoon. So my guest today comes to us from across the pond, and it just makes sense because we are going to talk my favorite TV series of all time, TedLasso. So I have with us today Sheward. I said it right, Lee. I said it right. I got it right. Sheward. And we're going to be raising him to the rafters. We've got his autograph just going to go right in that gap back there. Thank you for joining us here today, Lee. How is the weather where you are?
Good morning, Scott, or good afternoon, viewers, if you are in the UK. Looking out the window, it's not too bad. It's a bit overcast, but it's not too cold. And it was raining yesterday, but we're all good today.
So when you say cold, what is cold to you? How cold is cold?
Oh, no, nothing like the US can be. My daughter used to live in Buffalo, upstate New York, and that gets proper cold. That's cold. No, today's in the high teens. It's like 17 or 18 degrees today.
Okay. Well, you have tell us a little bit about what a stunt coordinator does, and how many years have you been How many years have you been doing this?
Well, it's gone very quickly, but next year I've been involved in stunts and stunt coordination for 40 years. It's like, God, where's those years gone? So I started in
4-0.
A 4-0. I know I look young, viewers, and they went,
you
God,
do.
he's not that old. He must have started when he was 2, but that's not quite the truth. But yeah, no, next year's 40 years. So it's been fun. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've still got a lot more to do, so we're not stopping anytime soon. My job actually involves, my performing days are over. So I started off as a stunt performer, stunt man, if you want to call it that. And that's developed over about 10 years of performing all over the world on TV and film. I then started to coordinate smaller shows, and that grew. And then after a number of years of that, I then started to direct as well. So I direct TV and feature film units, primarily the action units. My job actually involves everything from big car chases, people jumping off buildings, right through every facet of horses, fire, underwater sequences. But it can also involve an actress running on a hard floor in high heel shoes, or people running. You know, it's anything that involves sort of any slight threat or physical injury.
We take that for granted as we're living life, walking, talking, doing our life. But then we get a professional actor that is thinking about, I don't know, 5-6 paragraphs of dialogue that they have to time correctly with another 2 or 3 characters. And they have to walk, chew gum, take a smoke of a cigarette or what have you. Now it becomes not so easy to walk and talk or run in high heels.
No, and also you've got, on a TV show, you could have upward of 60, 70 people involved in the making of that, and a schedule for when it needs to be released. And if any of your main cast are injured, even in a minor way, twisted ankle or, you know, a bump or a bruise, let alone a broken bone, it completely makes everyone unemployed and throws the whole TV network and schedule out. So we're there to actually limit or minimize that as best we can.
So I got some shots that you sent me, and so I'm going to put those. These are actually stills you sent me, but I'm going to run it in sequence because and we're going to talk about how this got made. Now this is from Ted Lasso season 2, episode 9, and for us really geeky Ted Lasso people, we know that as Beard After Hours, and so this is. I'll just pull it up. And there you go. He's in the trash bin. So how? And we know that's not Brendan, right?
No, it wasn't Brendan.
No, it wasn't. Brendan did not jump off. And how many stories was that? 6?
It was actually 60 feet. I think 58 feet from where his feet left the banister or balcony to the bottom of the skip, so ground level. It's just around 60 feet.
Yeah, so that's that. You're not going to land. You're not going to land that on your feet. You're going to be landing on a balloon.
Well, in fact, what we did there, that stuntman is a very good friend of mine, Rob Jarman. He came into Double Beard. It was all done on the quick. They came up with the story, and because the schedule and everything else had to be done quite fast, we only had about 4 days of notice. So it's quickly recce it, look at it, bring in the double, rehearse it, and then it was a night shoot. The location was in central London near Tower Bridge, on the south side of the river. We had, because it was so fast, we had to come up with a quick way of doing it. It's something that we'd done before. So the equipment we used is a descender. So the actual jump is made on a wire. Now it's a very thin wire. It's like 4 millimeters, it's like shoelace. But it's very strong. Because obviously you can't jump, and please viewers, don't start jumping off 60-foot buildings into skips or bins of any type with anything in it. So what I did was we had the empty skip. We tested before with no skip there into an airbag, an air cushion, and if like measured out the plan, and then brought that skip in empty. I then made a styrofoam or polystyrene, if you're this side of the pond, layer on polystyrene legs with a polystyrene lid, and then piled up trash sacks of shredded paper, bubble wrap, anything light, and put some dust on it. So as Rob jumped, he aimed for the middle of the bin, and we'd done the test before, so he had a good target point. It was put in a position where he could hit center. He crashed through the rubbish bags, trash bags, and then we stop him on a braking system. Now, from 60 feet, the machine can stop you within, it slows you down over 5, and it can be very accurate. I mean, I didn't need the bin there. If you wanted to land and walk away, we could do 60 foot and land on your feet and walk away if you want to. But in this case, we measured him off about 1 foot short at the bottom of the bin. He crashed through the rubbish, which then all buried him. So it looked like he'd vanished inside the skip. And then we did Brendan walk in. I think, if I remember rightly, the door opens and he comes out and he's buried in all the rubbish. So that's how that was actually done. But it wasn't a free jump. He was on a cable.
So when you're on a cable, is the, so you say, Rob, how much do you weigh? I'm about 225. And you're like, you look about 280. So we're going to have to weigh you to make sure that the cable, I mean, these are considerations, right? For his safety, this is no time for you to chunk off a couple of pounds.
No, it's all measured accurately. We use a Dynaforce scale on it. We know that his weight, he is about 200 pounds or 190 pounds. But within the braking strain, that'll take the cable up to about 400 pounds. The cable's good for over 1,000 pounds. So we're all within tolerances of what we need. There's a bit of slack in the line to start it off, so it doesn't look like he's going down in an elevator. But we've built and operated these machines before. Rob actually did a few years ago, if the viewers or anyone's seen it, we did a show with Benedict Cumberbatch called Sherlock. And on that occasion, Benedict and his character Sherlock Holmes jumps off a building, it's 90 feet, and cons Watson and everyone else that he'd been killed. That was Rob doing the same sort of jump with the same machine for me. So it just made this job easier that he'd done it all before, but this time it was on a lower height. And because we only had a 4-day window to get it prepped and done, it was easy to just bring Rob in. And he was a good double for Brendan. They got on well, and he had a bit of a beard going. So
Fooled me. Absolutely fooled me. And of course, I'm in it when I'm watching it for the very first time. I'm in it like, what's going on with this show? Oh my God, he just jumped off a building. He's that much wants to get away from that guy. And oh, look, he landed in that big trash bin right there. And it was believable, but it worked. You know what I mean? It worked. It looked great. And of course, Brendan didn't get hurt because he didn't do his own stunt, which I agree with. But this
in that same episode, in the same location, there's a foot chase with the Jamie Tarr's dad's there with a gang of thugs, and there's a fight on the cobbles. And again, as I just mentioned, I was there for a whole evening, making sure that Brendan in his unusual costume, because he came out with sort of a bit of all these different training shoes and baggy clothes, and he had to run on cobbled streets, which we still do have in places in older parts of London. So they love that. So he's running on cobbled streets. That was Rob as well, because again, sprinting and running away from the other characters, if you twist your ankle and we're going to lose Brendan, it's going to throw the whole job out. So we were there for a few nights doing other things and the fight in the alleyway.
And that whole episode was pretty much him.
Yeah.
And a couple of the supporting characters like the thugs and the love interest and the love interest boyfriend and then his love interest. But there was no Jamie, there was no Roy, there was, this was
it's a standalone
an added standalone episode, kind of like the Christmas episode, that was made with, more compact, like you said, because you were on a big schedule for that one.
Yeah.
So the cobbles were wet too, right? Or were they glazed to make them look? I mean, you guys watered that down.
If I remember rightly, they wanted it for lighting because it makes it look better on occasion. But yeah, I had all the cobbles swept so they weren't dusty, so they just weren't slippery. Just stretch to warm up the actor, do a little stretching routine to warm him up, because it's been known, well, I've seen it before, where actors suddenly come onto set, don't warm up, and then run and pull muscles and stuff.
Yeah, these things, walk, oh yeah, I can walk, no problem. And then they twist their ankle or their knee or pull a hammy or whatever. That's not a good look. And then, like you said earlier, everybody's out of work, and everybody's got bills to pay, and now they can't pay them. Yeah,
I mean, if you look at it, this has happened on huge jobs as well. It does happen. I mean, Daniel Craig on the last Bond film he did broke his ankle in Jamaica, running down the street. He ran off the boat, which isn't in the film. That sequence got dropped in the edit, but I had friends that were working on it, and he tripped over and fell over, but he'd actually cracked his ankle.
And how long were they on the beach?
Well, they just kept going, but for the next 6 weeks, he didn't do anything. He's got a boot on, and I mean, it does happen.
They're shooting around it. They're shooting waist up or whatever.
I mean, going back, I remember many years ago when we did Batman, the first Michael Keaton Batman with Jack Nicholson. The original actress playing Vicky Vale was Sean Young, not Kim Basinger, and they were giving her riding lessons because a part of it was horse riding. And Sean Young fell off and broke her arm, and that was it, recast.
Ooh, and here comes Kim Basinger, and the rest is history.
Exactly. Or, Kurt Russell on a film called Soldier. I think he was on a ski holiday the week before or 2 weeks before, or something happened anyway. He broke his leg, and the first half of the film, they only shoot him chest up because he had a broken leg. So these little things become huge problems for production.
Right. Because you've already got everything, all your shots, your storyboard with shots already drawn out. You've already got all your stunts drawn out, and we're going to use a double here. We're going to use a double there. And then it's gone. It has to totally be redone.
It's they have to keep going. So you use doubles, and experience and precautions.
Did you guys also shoot the fight scene for a Beard After Hours that same stretch of time?
That was like the next day. We did the jump. It was like one to establish where they were. One evening doing the build up to the jump, running through the flat chase and the jump from the building, and then going out into the street. That was the second day. And from memory, I think the third day was another bit in a cafe for half the evening, and then go around the corner, and then we did that fight in an underground car park. So that little bit was like 3 days on that block.
Okay, and those were mostly stunt people there in the fight.
I had, from memory, I think there was 6 actors and three stunts. I tend to mix, or don't tend to. The way I normally do this is I'll put a stuntman with an actor. I very, very rarely put 2 actors together unless we've had a load of rehearsal or it's a little tiny bit. That if you can't run the whole choreography with 2 actors, someone's going to get punched or fall over, or the camera angles aren't going to work. So I tend to always use a stuntman as an doubling, and then working with an actor. And
then you switch it, and then you switch them out and shoot the other angle.
Correct. So and then take the other actor in and put another stuntman in and do it that way.
And then the editing will fix it in the very end. Everything's fixed in post.
Correct.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed that. That is, I think, if you had talked to anybody that's watched the whole series, if it's not their favorite episode, it's definitely in the top 3 of their favorite episodes.
That's good to know. I didn't know that. So that's made my Sunday. It's nice to hear that our work's been appreciated.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it brings the dynamic to the character of kind of how unhinged Beard is, that he would jump off a building to get away from danger. I'll survive this. No big deal. When it's 3-4 stories up or whatever, that's broken arm at least territory in my mind, or worse. If you miss the bin or hit the bin in half.
Oh yeah, it's still a stunt. If you get that wrong, Rob would have hurt himself. There's still for the stuntman, there's still an element of risk, but that's what he's trained for many years to do. That's what he does. So I have to still be very careful with him. I mean, we could have dropped if Brendan had wanted to do it. We could have done pieces. I mean, when we did going back to the Sherlock one, which people may now go and look at, it's available on the net. If you go searching for it, it's easy to find. We did drop Benedict 80 feet, Ooh. But he didn't jump off. So we winched him up and then dropped him down. So there are some of the shots of him falling with his coat flapping. That is Benedict Cumberbatch. But it's in the same way that I did a film called Enduring Love with Daniel Craig before he was Bond, and another actor called Rhys Ifans. And again, we took them up 80 feet under a balloon basket. And that is them. They were up that high, tied off and being moved around with cranes and wires.
So they were supposed to be in a hot air balloon?
Yeah, that particular film, I play a part on it. So it's the same equipment that we used for the Beard jump, for Brendan's jump. And on that occasion, I had a meeting with the director, Roger Michel. There's a fatality. There's an accident with a hot air balloon on a summer's day. And then I fall off, and that affects the whole tone of the movies. But that was a film with Daniel Craig. So it's a psychological thriller.
Okay. What was it called again? Enduring
Love.
Enduring Love. Okay.
Years ago. Yeah. It was just before Daniel did Casino Royale.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gives us a little timeline there. So you also did some work on, I believe, driving Colin's car in TedLasso, which was a souped up, was it a Ferrari or
We did a number of driving sequences. The main one you're talking about now is a Lamborghini Aventador.
Oh, it's Lambo. Okay.
Yeah. So he comes out, and we did him getting in, and then I drove it as a test, and I brought a friend of mine, Ray DeHaan, who's a very experienced driver, in. And then he wheel spun it out the car park. The car park's very small, actually. On the show, it looks like, it's a huge, great big parking mall, but it's actually tiny. I think you get about more than 10 cars in there. That's the limit. So it was actually quite tight to get past. And the other cars there are Aston Martins and Ferraris. A very, very expensive car park.
So we didn't need the actor running into these expensive cars.
No.
So you bring in the professionals to mark it out, and like, we don't have people, nobody walks over here because that's where the car's going. Exactly. And he spins it out and takes it out. He also did had a scene where he was at his love interest's house, and he comes out and he can't drive the car he can't get it out of the little parking lot because he's backing up, going forward, backing up, going forward. And I'm guessing that was a stunt driver as well.
Yeah, same thing. The cars are very expensive, as you can imagine, and obviously the footballers do have these vehicles, but in this case they're hired in for us, and then just for speed and ease they just make it that one of us will do it quickly. But that particular character, the joke of it is that he spent hundreds of thousands of pounds, or hundreds of thousands of dollars on a Lamborghini, but he actually is a terrible driver. So the joke is that he's got the money to buy this expensive car, but he can't actually drive it. So yeah.
Well, I think the other joke there was that he wasn't as good of a footballer as he thought he was. Also, because Colin was not. He wasn't Jamie Tart tier. He was a supporting player to Jamie Tart, and Roy Kent and Obasanya and all the other ones. So anyway, any other thoughts or
on that show? I mean, it was a lovely show to work on. There was a lot of cast there that I'd worked with before. I'd worked with Temple before on oh god, brain's going. Hannah Waddingham I'd worked with on a science fiction show called Krypton. Temple I worked with on a show called too many productions in my head, but
right. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, so I worked with some of the cast before on other occasions. It was like catching up with old friends. My first day on it was I came in as to help the stunt coordinator on one of the first episodes was another friend of mine, Jamie Edgell. So I went in to help him, and then he had a clash of dates, and I worked with the producer before. So the reason I ended up working on TedLasso and doing most of season 2 was just by mistake. I turned up for one day, just to do a sequence on Kingston Bridge with one of the actresses on a bicycle, and we had to have a couple of cars just stop, and she cycled through. So I did that, but then it was the producer remembered me from other shows, and so I ended up finishing the show off.
Well, it just shows how opportunity extends itself when opportunity presents itself.
Oh yeah. That's half of the business is just being in the right place at the right time.
Well, thank you for being with me today. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you in the back here in a second. This has been Leesheward, putting him to the rafters. Thank you for coming and talking with me today about my favorite show of all time. My dad had his favorite, which was MASH. And I never knew that I would have my favorite until it presented itself. And I've watched that series in completion more times than I can count. Like we're talking over double digits, easy, over double digits. And for me, I have nothing to watch right now. Well, I'll pop over and watch some TedLasso and just watch until I get tired of watching, go to bed or whatever. And it does always do for me what a sports movie TV show should do. Bring me up and give me hope, give me the believe. And that's what it's all about. So thanks for spending some time with me today. Hang on one second. This is Rafters Sports and Movie. Subscribe, like the channel. Thank you for watching.